my window here.
Kathy Barrows is here. Hi, Kathy.
All right, let's.
There's Anne. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Sheris. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. Hi, Sheris. Hi, Linda.
Hey, Ann.
Anne. Hi, Linda. Hi, Teresa.
It must be Monday.
Happy.
Hi, everybody else, too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Teresa.
Hello, everybody.
Ann McWilliams, hi.
Hello.
Woohoo.
It's indeed Monday at 7 o'clock, and it is BCCO time. So welcome, everybody, to another Monday, and on the Ides of March. So in any case, we are going to be obviously diving into Earth Song and the Angel, and going into a little bit more of the text.
I won't turn my video on until 8.
Mute, but we're going to change it. We're going to change it over to Julia to do a warm-up, and then we're going to dive right into the Earth Song before heading off into sectionals and then going back to the Angel. Should be a really fun rehearsal. So Julia, I'm going to pass it to you.
Okay, hello. Thank you, Ming, and hello, BCCO. Happy Monday. Let's, as always, begin standing. Everyone's standing nice and tall. And let's begin with a nice march today to get a little movement. So I'm just going to kind of switch my view. There we go. So I can see more of us. But let's go ahead and just kind of march up and down in place. It's kind of up to you, the challenge level that you want to give yourself. You can just kind of step in place. But I just want you to get a little bit of movement and be aware of where your feet are underneath your hips. If you want to give yourself a little bit more of a challenge, you can kind of put your hands out and bring your knees up to your hands to get a little movement in there. We'll just do this for a couple more seconds. Either bringing your knees up for a challenge up to your hands here, which I'm obviously bringing my hands down a little bit to meet. Or you can just kind of step in place to just your own rhythm. Just finding a nice position underneath your hips. You'll kind of find that naturally, that kind of hip width position. Go ahead and now just kind of stop marching, find a nice pause, and find a place where your feet are about underneath your hips, hip width apart. And then let's reach up to the sky. Imagine you're holding a giant beach ball. And then very slowly bring your elbows kind of down and back. So we're going through cactus and ending up turning cactus into kind of like chicken wing situation. So pulling your elbows down and keeping your hands flexed, still working. And you should feel this is like pulling down through your shoulders, opening up your chest as well, similar to cactus, but a little bit different. And then let's bring our arms back up to the sky, holding that a nice big beach ball again, so we're not like crunching at the shoulders, but there's space, your shoulders are relaxed. And then bring your arms down so that you're making a T. And still keep your fingers kind of splayed out like this, and kind of pull your pinkies back. Another kind of great stretch that is similar to cactus, but not quite the same. You should feel your shoulder blades starting to come together a little bit as well, opening up. Just some nice variations to our cactus, I think, that gives us the nice opening sensation here. And then one more time, bring your arms up. I swear we're almost done. And hold that beach ball for one more second, and then bring your arms down to your sides and go ahead and roll your shoulders to shake it out a little bit. Roll your shoulders back and then forward. And then find a nice neutral position again where your heart is open to the world and ready to sing. And now let's just do a quick neck massage. So you can massage starting at the base of your head here, up and down the back of your neck. I feel like we all hold tension in our neck in different places. So it's good to be aware of that, as that can also come into and interfere with the way that you sing. And tension is the one thing that I think singers talk about very often, and how to relieve tension to make singing more free. So if you can kind of, as I'm doing, kind of make your way over to your shoulders. I'll move my hair out of the way. I have so much of it now. Massaging your shoulders a little bit now, and you can massage the back of your shoulders or kind of the top here, whichever is kind of best for you, but just kind of relax a little bit. Take a nice deep breath as you're giving yourself a little massage. And exhale. Oh, and a nice sigh. Excellent. And then go ahead and take a thumb or two thumbs and massage underneath your jaw here. So just kind of push up against your tongue. And hopefully, I'm talking, so I'm creating tension here as I'm talking. But hopefully you can just feel a nice relaxation in your tongue. You could even just kind of like give a nice sigh, singing sound like, oh, as you kind of relax that position. Excellent. And then once more, come down to a nice tall singing position. And then we'll just talk quickly about alignment for your head and your neck. So I think especially often these days, since we are over our computers at rehearsal, we tend to kind of bring our neck, or our jaw rather, down to kind of impede our voice here. So I want you to imagine the entire rehearsal, if you can, just kind of remind yourself throughout the evening to see if you can strive for a parallel sensation here, so that your chin should be kind of parallel to the floor. Not also facing up, because that stretches this area, makes it a little harder and strained. It kind of helps, it creates a strained singing sensation. So if you aim for more of a parallel form, I suppose, with your chin, it'll create just a little bit more openness and free up your voice. So keep that in mind as we start to sing together. Before we do, we're actually going to breathe, but I'm sat down, so I'm going to stay seated. Please stay standing though. We'll start by breathing in for 4 beats and then out for 4 beats. And each time we breathe in, I'm going to add an extra beat for us to breathe in and out each time. And we're going to go all the way up to 10. We're going to start with 4. And I want you to think about using the full count. So if we get up to like 7, for example, don't just breathe in for 5 beats and then hold it for a couple more beats. See if you can really breathe all the way to 7 and then breathe out all the way through 7, all the while staying nice and tall in your nice tall posture. So we're not collapsing as we exhale and then inflating as we inhale. So a nice tall posture. Focus on a downward sensation as you breathe in. So beginning with 4, here we go. Ready, and breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. Stay tall. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Breathe normally for a moment. Nicely done. So we're playing a little bit with the flexibility of our breath. Now we'll take a nice deep breath in, just over kind of one larger beat. And then using all of your air, see as far as you can go, and F as your exhale. So a nice deep breath and for as far as you can go. Don't try to push it. It's not about straining your air out, but it's about finding a nice consistent stream of air. So just focus on getting something that feels comfortable and consistent on a nice F sound. Here we go, a nice deep breath and I'll give you a few extra seconds in case you're still going. All right, so hopefully as you were exhaling there on that F, you might have felt a little bit of engagement from your muscles down here. Go ahead and place a hand on your belly, kind of in the lower belly, so not up here necessarily on the diaphragm, but a little bit lower. And this time we're going to take one more breath in and hiss on an S this time. And I just want you to think about how if that's changing anything and how it's changing anything. Any kind of engagement you might feel in your muscles down here. Here we go, nice deep breath and again, I'll give you a couple more seconds if you're still going. Something to think about with that hissing exercise. That's a great introduction to singing some of those longer notes on the angel. So when you're starting to run out of breath, that's an indication to you that you need to take a breath and refresh and come back in and stagger breathe as opposed to trying to hold on for as long as possible. So that's a great exercise you can do by yourself for warm-ups when you're practicing our music throughout the week. So before we actually sing our warm-ups, go ahead and do some bird noises with me. A nice hoot like an owl. Ooh, 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 3 in a row. Ooh, 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 and feel it nice and localized here. Then we'll sing hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, 3 in a row. Again, kind of focused here. Feel like your sound is going out this way. If you want to, you can kind of do this with me. I'm going eh, ah. If you want some kinetic movement here, here you go. Eh, ah, eh, ah, eh, ah. And now starting with a nice NG, space in the back of your mouth, we'll sing and go. One more. And now, starting with that same space, we'll now sing. So the NG sound lasts for 2 of those notes, and then opening up to an ah. See how much you can kind of springboard your soft palate from that kind of lowered position with the NG to a really lifted space in the back. So really springboarded open for a nice yawn space in the back. Ready, and go. Drop your jaw. 2 more. Last one. And now taking that second bird sound and creating that more into a more fuller warm-up, we'll sing. If you notice noticed that NG sound, as we've talked about before, really localizes your sound, kind of helps you with projection. Ooh, I'm projecting my glasses off my face. Helps you with projection of your voice, and also kind of localizes the sensation of singing in our mask area, which is this like masquerade mask area. When you sing a, ah for this next exercise, we want to focus the sound again in the front here while still rounding in the back. So, a, ah, sing with me, ready? And. A, ah, a, ah, a, ah. Drop your jaw for the ah. One more. All right, I have a new exercise that I discovered this week. It's specifically to kind of focus on the E vowel, because in my humble opinion, and everyone has different ears and opinions, but I think the E vowel is the peskiest vowel in choral singing because it can be very spread or it can be very tall and lovely. So as we're singing this, we'll sing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Lots of E vowels in there. As you do, careful that we're not singing eeny, meeny, miny, mo, but eeny, meeny, miny, mo, that the E's are still a little rounded in the lips here. Additionally, see if, actually let's practice that for a couple of rounds first, just to focus on that first. I don't want to give you too much to think about at once. Here we go, ready, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Last one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And now we're actually going to slow it down just a tiny bit, the same exercise, but as we do, I want you to focus on when your vowels change and see how quick you can make the vowels change instead of adding extra sounds in between. So for example, we'll sing eeny, meeny, miny, mo, specifically for the last two with the miny, mo. Careful that we're not adding in miny, then we're not creating diphthongs or extra sounds. Just open straight up to the miny, mo. It should feel like very instantaneous when you open up to the vowel. Just play around with that a little bit slower with me now. Ready? And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And breathe. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And breathe. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Last one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right, and let's do one more exercise here. We'll sing a nice arpeggio and then a scale downward. Actually, starting here, we'll sing ya. This might be familiar to many of you, but something to think about on this one. Careful that the top note is not the most important note. You still sing through it with momentum and motivation, but you still have half of the phrase to go in the downward scale. The downward scale is not any less important than that top note. So once you get to the top note, don't deflate, but stay nice and lifted and supported. Ya. there's still half the phrase to go. So focus on that. Ready, and two more. Last one. As I point menacingly at the computer here. Let's do one last exercise, which is just a siren together. Let's do 3 in a row, actually, and imagine that there are different little hills in San Francisco, each one slightly larger than the last. So we'll go, oh, or something like that. Join me this time. Careful also that you're not chewing on your vowel as we do this. Keep a nice relaxed oh the whole time so it's consistent no matter what range you're singing in. Here we go. Oh. All right, and with that, I will turn it back to Ming.
Thank you, Julia. So great. Wonderful. So we're going to be looking at Earth Song. So get out your score for Earth Song. And what we're going to be talking about a little bit today is rehearsing how you manage all the R's in this piece. Because the English for this is a little bit difficult. I mean, like you can say Earth Song, Earth Song, Earth Song, and they're all completely different vowels. But when you sing, just like we try to avoid all diphthongs, which are 2 vowels at the same time, like May, like when you say the month of May, it's actually made up of 2 vowels. A, it's like May, May. And we kind of glide between them. And every time we have transitions between words, between vowels, it's not a very beautiful sound to sing. It's not only that, but it actually is really difficult for all of us to align our vowels together. And the same thing goes for the letters R and L. In English, especially in American English, not so much in French or Spanish or German or whatever, those 2 letters are called glides. And they're sort of like diphthongs with letters, like you have an L. There's a lot of transition for your tongue, R. And so even the word Earth Song, it's wrong. We have to figure out how to pronounce that. So we're going to do this with music because, again, this music isn't necessarily too difficult, but it is something that we need to work on, sort of the vowels and how we're going to be approaching it. Because like we've said many times before, when you have chamber choir, the way you approach the vowels is really, really important. So let's start at the very beginning. I'm going to give you the bass note, tenor, alto, soprano, goes up to there, C. Now, sometimes we want to ping in the sound, we say sing. But this one we're going to open up. So we have a great big I vowel. Sing, sing. And I want you to make sure that you don't close to the NG, but that you elongate that I vowel as long as possible. Not in the back of your throat like, but sing. Do you see how my front 2 teeth are there? It's like a little bit like we call rabbit's teeth, or you're going to bite an apple. Sing. Okay. Let's just sing a little bit of this. Let's go for the first page or so. Okay, here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, off. 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. stop it a little bit. We'll stop right here. There's no good place to stop. I couldn't stop at all. There's no good place to stop. Now, let's talk about these vowels. First of all, remember that there's a certain reverence to these words. So when you sing, sing, be, live, see. There's intention to those words. And so we're going to have a little bit of weight on them as we crescendo into the next note. That's not necessarily that hard. We've done that before. Why don't we just do that once to remind ourselves, right? Those is sort of like a chant. It's sort of like incantation, right? Let's sing those words again. And then I love this clash from the sopranos and altos. See. So if you're a soprano, maintain that pitch. If you're altos, be firm in knowing that your pitch sing is a really nice high little drop there. Here we go. Sing from bar 1 to 7. 1, 2, and da. Breath. Breath. Va. Right? And remember those crescendos, decrescendos, it just gives it even more sort of importance to the note. We talk about how we give more time to the words that we want to be more important. There's nothing more evident than 2 full bars per word here, right? Okay, now let's do this next section, bar 9 with pickup. Now, this docs told me ah. Now, the key rule that I want to impress upon you is that when we have ending R's in singing, we change them into schwas. Now, what is a schwa? A schwa is our neutral syllable. In English, it's Like when you say, I don't know where I'm going. Was I supposed to take a left there? And if you think about schwas, they're different in every single language. And it's our default, natural, relaxed placement and structure for our mouth. So for instance, in France, if you say, je ne sais pas où nous sommes maintenant, right? They say, their schwa is much more closed than ours. Ours and Americans have one of the largest vowels of any, you ask a European to imitate an American, they say, ah, rah, 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 like they open up their mouths a lot, right? And we do that. We say, I just don't know. That is your schwa. Now, so when we have doc, we don't say, we cut the R out, first of all, but our, instead of saying our, we say ow, And so when we sing it, we say ow, we change that R into a schwa. Now, if I'm speaking it to you, it sounds really weird. This docs told me right? That doesn't sound like a word, but that's what we do to sing to make sure it sounds. Because what happens is a schwa tends to be a little bit more closed, and it tends to be a little bit more closed than the vowel beforehand. And to the audience, we hear the R. However, it's not a glide. It's an actual beautiful vowel, and we can keep it in sort of time. So let's try this together. We all have those words, except the basses somehow don't have the word this, but that's okay. That's okay, basses. You'll be okay. So we'll say, this docs told me ah. Now I don't want you to go to but I want to go this, and put the schwa in at the very end. But I don't want to see your mouths do this. This docs told me this. You see how weird that sounds? So we're going to try to change down to the schwa. Let's start there. This is pick up to bar 9. Everybody is in unison except for the basses. And then we go into our chord. Basses. there's tenors, and then altos and sopranos. So we're going to sing this first line. This the hawks told me, ah. And I just want you to sing those words before we go look at the next ones. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. This hawks told me, ah. This. And just before that lift, you tuck in that schwa. You don't go close down to an entire R. And then again, we're not changing vowels on the change of pitch. So it's not, this the hawks told me how, right? We're not trying to do that. Okay? Now, let's just try the lower three parts. This the and then you can take a little tiny breath, altos if you'd like, and then tenors and basses. Of course, take a breath at the end of bar 10, that is. Okay? Now, the other one, the other R that's problematic is this one on bar 9, dark. Now, I pronounce it the way we're going to sing it. We don't sing dark, but we sing dark. As if you're saying, the dogs told me ah. Like it's very, very high British, right? You're going to change that R into almost an H. That's dark, dark, instead of dark, right? So you cut off an R when it's in the middle of the word, and you kind of just don't pronounce it. You just kind of get rid of it. We don't say da-k. That's a little weird. We just say dark, like D-A-H-K. Okay? Now let's look at the next words. The wind, it stirs. What do we do with that? That's an end of the word with an S, but at end of the word with no vowels, we change into schwa. It stirs. Again, that's a little bit more British. Stirs. This dark, stormy hour, the wind, it stirs. The scorched earth, not earth, but earth, cries out in vain, in vain. So we can sing that entire line. It's a lot of good practice for our R's. This dark storm, let's, it might not be in time together, but let's just practice saying those words. 1, 2, 3. This dark stormy hour, the wind it stirs, the scorched earth cries out in vain, in vain. And so you become like you're almost orating it, because that's what singing is doing. We're creating heightened emotion and tone to these words. Just happens to be on pitch, whereas oration sometimes is variable pitch. Let's try singing that together. Let's practice our open vowels. Let's practice eliminating all glides and diphthongs together. Let's pick up to bar 9, first bar. Stormy, stormy, you cut that one out. So the question is, what about the R in stormy? So if the R is after a vowel but before a consonant, then you cut it out, like dock or stormy. I don't say stormy, but I say stormy. I almost cut it out. Change it into an H. Here we go. Pick up to bar 7, 8, 9, 9. Okay, here we go. 1, practice your vowels. 1, 2, 3. It stirs the doors don't forget your crescendos. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now the same thing, the last thing I'll say, when you have an R that follows a consonant. So these are the 3 times you find R's. Like cries, we don't say cries because that's a glide. We usually flip or roll it. That cries out. So that's why we have 3 different ways of talking about R's. After a consonant, which we kind of roll it or flip. After a vowel, which we usually get rid of it. Or at the end of the word when we change it into a schwa. So we have all of these here. We have stirs, which is at the end of the word, so we change it into a schwa. Earth is the same thing, it's changed into a schwa. Cries, cries. is a rolled R. And then, of course, what's the other one? Oh, like dock, right? Dock, wing, duck, or something like that. Dark, wing, duck. Nobody knows that one. Let's get dangerous. Okay, let's start again from the beginning. And let's sing all the way to, I want to actually sing a couple pages, like 3 or 4 pages, but I want you in time to see, oh, which type of R is this? How can I get rid of my glides or closed vowels? From the very beginning, bar 1, sing, be, live, see, billions of R's. Here we go. And then the sopranos will go up to, okay, with solemn reverence, right? 1, 2, 3. Breath. 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 This dog story it's the schools of Yeah, we'll stop there. We'll stop there because it's a completely different sound, even though it's in the middle of the line. So we got a lot of different ones here. Oh, wah, not war, but wah. It's like, this one is almost like a, actually it is a little bit more of a W-A-H rather than a schwa at the end. But, and power. You know that one sopranos, everybody actually in bar 18 of war and power. We don't say power, but we say power, like P-O-W-U-H, power. You blind and blur, not blur, but blur. You actually open it up a little bit, right? The torn heart, we cut out, we don't say torn, we say torn heart. We don't say heart, but heart, like almost H-A-H-T, heart, heart cries out. The same thing as a scorcher cries out, the torn heart cries out in pain. And again, if you think tall vowels, this works a lot. Let's try this from bar 17 with pickup. Bar 17 with pickup. Okay. Wah, wah, wah. Not war. Don't close down don't create the R. Just let the one vowel dictate. Wah, oh, wah, and pow, Very, very open. Here we go. With the soprano pickup though. So it's going to be bar 17 with 3 count into the soprano line, everybody else on the downbeat. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Sopranos. Everybody else. Sopranos hold to 1, 2, 3. Great. So sopranos, let's mark it in bar 23 that there is no breath. You can take a breath anywhere you need to beforehand, but you need to make sure that before the word in, there's no breath because it doesn't make sense otherwise. So what we're going to try to do is to make sure make sure that that line continues into the next line. And then sopranos, obviously the same thing. In bar 25, you get to take a breath before everybody else, before the word but. Okay? So you can even sustain that pitch only for like 2 beats instead of 3 on bar 25. Bar 25. Okay? Here we go. What I want to do is I want to work on bar 13 for the sopranos and tenors alone. Sopranos and tenors alone, bar 13, with pickup. Now, soprano, same thing. We want to make sure that we don't take a breath at between bar 14 and 15, or really before in bar 14. That's where you're going to have a big temptation to take a breath. The scourge cries out in vain. So you want to make sure we avoid that, right? Even though it's long. And the tenors, you actually have something really bizarre because you start off with a melody like the sopranos, except at bar 15, abruptly you change to the accompagnato pulsating line. So you have to change your lines for that. That's why I want to try both of them at the same time. Tenors and sopranos, feel free, basses and altos to join in, of course. But let's do bar 13 with pickup. Okay, 1, 2, the. This is, by the way, another one. We actually change it from the normal schwa of a the. Do you hear what I'm saying? The. We sing the, T-H-A, the. The, not the, but the scorcheth cries out in vain. Okay, here we go. Tenors and sopranos only. Tenors, get ready to be of 2 minds and change from melody to accompagnato very quickly. 1, 2, 3. The scorcheth cries out. Breath. Breath. So sopranos, you see, you can take a breath before some of those lines. Make sure it just is not in bar 14 before the word in, and it is not before bar 15. So tenors, if you can manage the quickest catch breath before bar 15 downbeat, fine, feel free to take it. It really is just a change of your function, okay? Now, let's do the altos and basses at the same place. Pick up to bar 13. But this one is, I want you to hear first these chords in succession, because this is what you're going to be listening to when you sing it all together. Bar 13 with pickup. Okay, ready? 1, just listen first. 1, 2, 3. Do you see that? So you really are part of the same chord. And if you look at the alto line and bar 13, you are the 3rd of the chord, which means not only do you have to make sure that you are singing a little bit sharper than you normally do, because it's a note that tends to sound flat, even though sometimes it's not flat, but it tends to sound flat. But also you need to be very aware of the basses when you sing. So you want to fit in their sound. Basses, as a result, what we normally do to help them out with that is actually I ask you to sing louder. So that is a point where I ask the basses to sing a little bit louder, especially because the tenors and sopranos are going to a lovely part of their voice where they can be heard very clearly. So let's try that, basses and altos singing there. And basses, I want you to get used to thinking, we're going to support the altos now. We're going to envelop them in a warm harmonic hug. And altos, I want you to be aware of the bass line and hearing the bass line, again, in the warmth of the sonic richness of this piece, okay? So pick up to bar 13. Bass note, alto. And again, figure out what we call the function of your note in the chord. Basses, it's to envelop and create a warm sound. Altos, it's to make sure we tune and match, join in the chord. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to, for the altos, tenors, and basses, really, I don't know if this is very clearly indicated here, but we want to make sure, I want you to look at bars 15, 16, and 17. Look at where the crescendo and decrescendos are, okay? Then what I want to do is I want you to look at the beginning of the piece, those 4 chords, and the crescendo, decrescendo for those notes. And what do you see there? What do you see? Feel free to type it in. Yeah, we have a longer note. I wonder, I'm in a new location. I might actually change into an earbud so I can talk directly into a mic. Let me try that. But feel free to write in. I haven't seen the most, oh, I think Ruth might have it. Aha. Let me try this. How is this? Is this a little better? Ooh.
Yes.
I get Julia saying, ooh. That's great. Okay, excellent. Excellent. So this is something that musicians debate all the time because sometimes composers were a little bit lazy, but you have to interpret what their notes are. And in this case, it's printed and probably edited many times. The beginning chords that you have on bar 1, 1, 3, 5, those chords, are very clearly on the second beat, that you crescendo to the second beat. Now look at bar 15, 16, 17. That is different. You very, very clearly crescendo to the third beat. So this one, ve, and you might say, oh, well, maybe they made a mistake. Then you look at other places for clues in the score. Bar 24 and 25. No, that's very clearly the third beat. That's very clearly the third beat. Okay? And then by the time you get to bar 41, 42, 43 at the end, where we repeat these chords, oh, that's funny. Those are like the beginning, full bars, but you crescendo to the third beat. So the only one that's different is the first one, right? And then what musicians do is they say there and say, you know what, we got a question here. What is different here, right? Yes, Marlon, you know, that's fantastic. The rhythm is different, right? The sort of phrasing, as we talked about, is different. And its placement in the piece is different. Sing, be, live, see, right? We don't know the context for that. But then we start in with the dark, stormy hour, right? We start in darkness. And by the time we get to the end, where we have resolution and acceptance, right? Light of song, shining strong, alleluia, through darkness, pain, and strife, I'll sing, be, live, and see. It's a different sentiment at that point. Different rhythms, different phrasing with the crescendo and decrescendo. So something to note. It's just one of those little oddities that we come across and musicians like to debate and contrast and interpret. And that's what the fun part of it is. Okay, so where are we? We are in bar 26 now, page 5, 26. Now, we've talked about this torn heart cries out. The scorched earth cries out in vain. O war and power, you blind and blur. The torn heart cries out in pain and pain. But then, completely different. Texture, tone, basses drop out. Right? That is completely different. It is sweet. It's sort of light. I want you to circle the words that are in parentheses. Or sorry, the word that's in parentheses. Dolce. And what does dolce mean? Write it all in the text. I should have like, let me see, 141 or 140, I guess, because it's not me. But like, what does dolce mean? Sweet, sweet. Oh, I see everybody writes sweet. I'm on these big, long, I'm sure like everybody has Zoom meetings where you have to go through like Robert's Rules of Orders and stuff where you have to approve and everybody has to write into the thing. So all I see is like, yay, 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 yay. So I write it differently every single time. But yes, dolce means sweet. And I want you to circle that because that is a particularly important part in this piece. When we've been talking about our scorched earth that cries out, our torn heart that cries out in pain, then change. Sopranos. This is going to be really hard because he is saying to sing piano, everybody else is still singing, and we're talking about a changed, lighter, effervescent tone, and yet we still want to hear you, right? So I want you to actually change the piano to the next bar, to bar 26. I want you to maintain a mezzo piano, and I don't want you to sing the dolce until you get to the next line, into the next word, sorry, bar 26. So again, bar 26 should be piano dolce. Bar 25, the last word but, is still mezzo piano and might be, when we're in chorus, actually be a little louder. And we could sort of justify it saying, the torn heart cries out in pain, but music and singing have been my refuge, right? So even dramatically, you know, it's would be much better, okay? So let's try that right now. We're gonna sing this section, and sopranos, you have a really hard line. Let's actually just do sopranos alone, or everybody sing with the sopranos just to commiserate with them how hard their line is. But it's it wouldn't be that bad, but those low Fs means you have to change register. What music and singing have been my refuge. Okay, let's try that together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hands. Continue on. And second sopranos, first one. And the same thing for this. This is a diphthong, so we sing light. We don't sing the light, right? Okay. So that's really difficult. What I want to avoid is making sure that when you sing those low Fs, except for the first one for but, that you maintain it lightly. But music and singing have, but music and singing, if you can connect them somehow, and singing, it's really beautiful. Just float the tone as much as possible. Now, altos and tenors, even though altos have a very easy line, hard to maintain the pitch, But tenors, we want to make sure that you have the floatiest sound as well. So we float the sound. Music and singing have been my refuge. Actually, let's do the tenors alone because I don't want you to be tempted by the alto's solitary note, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Tenors. Music and singing have been my refuge. Continue on. And music and singing shall be my light. Okay, let's do that all together. Basses, feel free to do whatever you want to do. Sing the soprano line, right? But feel free to sing along. Let's do everybody at bar 26 with pickup. Okay. Tenor line, alto line, soprano line. Right? 1, 2, 3. One, two, basses, join us. One, two, three. Alto. And. And. Okay, so let's look at this last section. Basses, of course, on bar 30, join in dolce, sweetly, as we sing in Music Shall Be My Light. Now, as we take up confidence on bar 33, a light of song shining strong, there could be nothing more poetic, musically poetic than making that a strong line, right? With an echo. Like you sang it so loud that it reverberated throughout the heavens. Really, really fantastic. So what I want to do is, let's just do that separately first. Now, let's just sing it first. Bar 33, we start from unison. And then those same chords before that were more, again, meditative, just chanting, become the same notes that we use these words for. I was playing everything but the soprano line, but a lot of those notes are the same sort of notes that we sang before, but now they have purpose, they have life. So it's actually really brilliantly written work because it's actually relatively simple to put together. But again, just like all these other works that we've been talking about, there's a certain depth that comes through singing this. Okay, let's try this. Bar 34 with pickup. And the bass is on the low C, everybody else in unison on the top C. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Crescendo. Echo. At peace. Altos. And beautiful, beautiful work. So let me just answer some of these questions. What is, oh yeah, Catherine was mentioning about the Fs. Yeah, it's more about the tone. I want to make sure that when they sing, when you change a register, the very easy tendency to sing heavy on that note. So I want to try to avoid that. What's the upside down fermata on a crotchet? So that's the third bar from the end. That's just a fermata there. And we can just, the ritardando to the end, I think there's just a lot of leeway in how much ritardando there is. So I think that is just at everybody's discretion. Well, conductor's discretion at that point. Okay? Yeah, this is a great piece to try to sing together. Now, I want to just visually go through this. And what I like to do is sort of visually go through this once just to talk about this again. And then we'll go actually sing it together, I think, with the recording, with me conducting before we take our break. Okay? So again, just looking at it just for structural basis from the very beginning, we have these 4 words that we're chanting: sing, be, live, and see, right? And then we have the tenors, altos, and basses sort of continuing that sort of chant-like incantation, while the sopranos have the melody. This dark, stormy hour, the wind it stirs, and then the tenors and the sopranos reach out and cry out. The scorched earth cries out in vain, right? As the tenors go from being melody and going back to this incantation of vain war. Then the same thing, sopranos sing the melody. Oh, war and power, you blind and blur. And then the tenors join in. The torn heart cries out. And this time, this is a longer chord. Cries out in pain. As we're losing energy, in pain. And then we change into a lighter tone. But music and singing have been my refuge. Light tones, even with the basses, dolce singing, and music and singing shall be my light. And with refurbished strength, a light of song, singing strong, alleluia, so full that we have an echo throughout the heavens, alleluia. Through darkness and pain and strife, I'll sing. I'll sing. Be, live, and see, and then we change in harmony to peace. It's a beautiful work. Okay, a couple quick questions here. Steal away. So the question for bar 41, aha, live. So this is when the altos have I'll live. The L you treat almost like as an R too. We actually just cut it out. Instead of saying, I'll live, we sing, I live. You basically delay it to the very last second, and then you flip the flip the L. So again, sometimes we sing L, and in Russian you actually do that a lot. Olga, Olga, instead of, but in Europe, you actually flip L's, la. So you sing, I live, instead of I'll live. Do you see that L? You want to cut that out as much as possible, okay? Now, let's sing through this with recording, and then we have a surprise after break, but yes, we'll do after break. Now, excuse me for a second. I should have had this prepared, but I didn't expect to actually get this far. But this is really exciting. Voiced. Das Musik. What are we? Spring twin. What is this? Ticelli. Oh, with voce eight. Okay. Zoom. Share screen. Share sound. Take out. I think I got it all. Okay, here we go. Here we go, from the beginning. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. They took a long time actually between bar 33, in bar 33 before they changed, right? It's almost like they let that moment sit there for a little bit. That's really nice. Okay. And then of course they have the luxury of just taking a little bit of time between some of the lines and a lot of flexibility. But what's really noticeable too is that they're in a really reverberant space, because what they do sometimes is let the sound just float, and even as they're taking their breath, the sound is still there. So they can still sing, and it feels like the line is still continuing through. So it's a really wonderful work. And of course, we're going to do some minor stuff in sectionals just to get used to it. And then of course, really be aware of that structure that we're looking at. But why don't we take a break now for 5 or maybe 6 minutes until 15, and then we'll have a break. And then we'll continue maybe looking at Angel a little bit, but then going directly into sectionals. Okay. See you in a little bit.
Who's there?
We're here.
Hello. I have to find my mute
Hi,
button.
Kitty.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Go.
I see you. I don't see you.
When's the winner?
Win.
I'm
Win the
here.
winner.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, win. Hi, Sarah.
Hey,
Hi.
is that you out there, Sonia?
Yep, it's
Hi.
me.
I can recognize that voice anywhere.
There you go.
Oh, gosh. We could all be in a big Walmart looking for each other. Valerie, Valerie.
Hi, Barbara. I see you there.
Hey, Lynn, how are you doing?
All right.
Hi, Win. How are you?
Nice to hear from you.
Oh, there's Barbara. Hi, Barbara. You
Hey,
made
Sarah.
it.
How are you doing?
Oh, fine. Just battling it out with my computer. Okay.
Barbara, are you home now?
Yeah, I'm home.
I wasn't sure quite where you were, so good.
I'm home.
Barbara.
Who's that? I recognize the voice, but
Hey, Madeline.
hey.
Hi, Barbara.
That's Arnold.
Hey, I win. I got off my Conestoga wagon to talk to you guys.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Oh, my.
Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Roy,
Hey, Mary.
Mary.
Good to see everybody.
Have you been, Leo?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to get through things and waiting for word of when, we'll be available to get the vaccination.
Wait a
We're all,
minute. Wait a
most of us are a ways off still.
Hey, Teresa.
Didn't City of Berkeley give them out last month?
I think you have to be either of a certain age group or a healthcare person, healthcare employee.
Yeah,
I think.
certain kinds of
Or a teacher.
Yeah.
workers.
Yeah, they're
Or
giving
with a
priority.
pre-existing condition.
I
Yeah.
have to do one. Volunteer
Or you have to be old.
volunteer to be a school monitor. That's another way.
Ah, that's one way of
Yes.
skirting the rules.
So you say you are.
I've done it.
Or volunteer to help give the vaccine. Too.
Exactly. My
Yeah,
daughter
that's-
does that.
Well, yeah, stick it to them.
No, I think I heard like at Golden Gate Fields, I heard that you could just register people. I think somebody with the clipboard outside of the car.
Oh,
If you did it for 4 hours, I heard that you might be able to get a vaccine.
somebody mentioned to me that they were doing vaccinations down at the Richmond Auditorium, but
Yeah, they were. They were doing
Yeah.
that, and
It's CVS on Telegraph.
yeah.
oh,
Really?
I get my number 2 tomorrow on my second one on Saturday. So
oh, So you can walk around without the mask now?
Not for a
No,
while.
after a couple of weeks.
After a
Sweet.
couple of weeks, okay.
One thing that's a little more long-term is Bayer has opened a production facility in Berkeley. So they will be churning out doses, but probably not for 3 or 4 months yet. It's
That is
just.
Oh,
funny.
wow.
Wow,
But-
that's pretty good. One of the benefits of being in Berkeley, I guess.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor works there, and it will be the mRNA vaccine. And the beauty of that is it takes just tiny tweaks to make it effective against any new variants.
Oh, okay. Is it a single shot?
It'll be 2 shots. She just got the Johnson & Johnson one, and she's happy with that. I mean,
Okay.
So
So
instead of eating locally, we can vaccine locally.
Oh, hey, not too bad.
I have a question. How many of the vaccines have the RFID chip in them?
Zero.
What?
Zero.
Now we know where he's been.
We are back.
the reception with my
Hello,
Tim.
Ming.
We are back.
Very much on this planet.
We are back. Okay, so we have a special little surprise at this point.
Okay.
And who am I turning to? Am I turning it over to David or to Christian? But there.
What's that?
I hear a dog.
David.
You're
I'm not
turning it
sure
over
what-
to me.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, hello everyone. We are very pleased to debut the virtual performance of Steal Away, the movement from Michael Tippett's A Child of Our Time that we recorded last summer. This was a remarkable project for us. It's somewhat of a musical and cultural shift for BCCO. Steal Away is not the music we normally sing. Because of Zoom rehearsals, we were joined by lots of singers from other choruses. It was a really wide geographical spread from Maui in the west to Park Slope in Brooklyn in the east, and included a few former BCCO members who had moved away from the Bay Area. The Steal Away was another milestone on the path to our ultimate goal, which is being able to sing together over the internet and hear each other as we sing. We aren't there quite yet, but we're getting closer. I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the Steal Away project, Ming and Paul, our soloists, Brandy and Eric, videographer, Omid, the members of the Virtual Music Committee, and of course, all of you singers who submitted recordings. So Christian, let's see the video.
Great job, everybody.
And if you would like to see this again, it is now available at storychorus.org.
Thank you.
Oh.
So let me put on. Where am I? Got it. Okay. Great. Yeah, I think one of the things that some people had mentioned at the beginning of pandemic, I guess maybe in May, so it's like 3 months after everything got started, is that in moments of adversity, that you always remember the people with whom you're with. And I think things like this are really wonderful because it's a memento of this time, right? It's a memento of the fact that we were congregating virtually and yet still trying to connect to each other through music. And so these projects, I think, are really, really important and, again, meaningful. And so obviously, thank you to David and everybody for, and Julia and the video team, and of course, everybody that was involved and submitted materials to. I mean, like, I know things are a little scary when you're submitting videos, but, things are scary all the times, especially during COVID time, right? And so, taking that step forward to do it, I think was really wonderful. And so thank you again to everybody, because I think it's a really, it's a really meaningful project to do at this time. So yeah, so please visit it in StoryCorps. And then, of course, check out, there's a lot of other materials that sort of document BCCO and this history and whatnot. So it's a lot of interesting stuff there. Okay, we're going to look very quickly at the angel. And I want to do a couple parts before we go into sectionals. But what I want to do is sort of look at those ensemble sections first. And so, like we talked about, there are certain types of music that's here. And a lot of it is solo lines, and a lot of it has single chords. But what I wanted to do is, again, look at the beginning for this D minor chord and the chords that are within it. And so, at the very beginning, again, can you hear me when I play piano when I have this thing on, by the way? Okay, great. Sopranos, altos and tenors are still going. And then we get this chord. And getting between these chords to this is really hard, like Julia worked on last week, right? And so altos, alto ones especially, obviously, make sure that you know that that's a different note because we changed key signatures, right? Just a reminder of that. Sopranos are going up a fourth with the tenor ones, soprano ones and tenor ones. I mean, like, right? That's a normal. Altos and alto twos and soprano ones. That's what I meant to say, right? Tenor ones, you step up a whole step, and then tenor twos, like there's an extra note in between that's C, and then basses and basses 1 and 2. It's hard to find. What I want to do is we're going to start from the beginning, but I'm going to play the beginning. And then what I want to do is when I get to bar 6 where we have that big chord, we're going to play it through several times. I'm going to play it with you first. Then we're going to try it again, and then I'm going to get there, and then you're going to start singing, and then I'm going to play the chord to see how close you got. And then we'll go do that like that twice, okay? So again, I'm going to start from the very beginning. I just want you to listen, 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 listen. And then when we get to bar 6, sing like we're doing it together, okay? Again, starting from the beginning. Don't sing, just listen. Now let's do this together with piano and sing. Go on. And 2, 3. For now, let's forget the fermatas that are there. Okay. This time, what I want to do is I'm going to play the beginning again, or if you want to, if you're an alto or tenor or anybody, just feel free to sing along. But then when we get to bar 6, I'm going to cue you to come in, and then play the chord afterwards to see if you got the right pitch. Okay. Let's try this. Everybody at bar, except for basses, obviously not singing, but bar 1. It's 1 and 1. Silently towards the earth, but the moon and the clouds upon the nightly watch. Now here we go. I'm going to cue you. And hold that first chord, hold it, and then I'm going to play. Okay? Now be honest, how many of you got at least a note in the chord? It's a little hard, right? It's a little hard to find that. It's like, I'm going to go to gallery mode so you can't see. Yeah, that's the big thing to listen to, okay? And then again, if you have the D, like if you're in soprano 2, if you're a tenor 1, or you're a bass 1, you should be latching on to that C that everybody else has been singing for a long time, and just take a step up. That's going to be the root of the chord, okay? Now, once we get that, it's just a matter of stepwise motion for everybody, so it's not that bad. Now I want to look at another part here. Where is it? Is it page 9? Yeah, 9. Now, do you see that everybody's singing at this place? And this is the same thing we were talking about with before, where we're saying, "Sings of the Lord," and we're singing it all together. So I want to do bar 31 with the 1/4 note pickup. So if you're a high soprano, and feel free to just sing it if you want to, but if you're, let's say if you're normal soprano, 1 or 2, you're going to sing, "He sings of the Lord." Everybody sings that. He sings. So bar 31 with pickup. So I'm from the bottom, bass 2, bass 1, bass 2, bottom note, bass 2, top note, bass 1, tenor 2, tenor 1, alto 2, alto 1, soprano 2, soprano 1. Look how big that chord is. It's full. It's rich. We're going to go, "He sings of the Lord." Okay? And we're going to just try to read from there. Okay? Stepwise motion for most people. One, 2, 3. He sings. It's beautiful. Again, we're just sort of getting used to the idea that there's some parts that we're singing together. We're going to break it down in sectionals a little bit starting now. So let's do sectionals for the next, I think, 25 minutes. We won't do too much together at the end together, but let's do sectionals for the next 25 minutes. So I'll see you in a little bit. I'll take a couple. Oh, it's so fun to see the algorithm just dump everybody back into the room. So, okay. So we're going to leave off for tonight now. I want to give a little plan for what's going to happen next week. So next week, we're going to be focusing on the angel and spending a bit of time in sectionals, because all 4 voice parts are really independent of each other. And what ends up happening is that it's better to isolate that to make sure that people have the tension on their lines when we go through it. And so that'll be a lot of focus for next week. And then, of course, we have 2 more weeks with these pieces.
And so again, next week is going to be a deep dive into the angel. And then we're going to wrap up the week after that with focusing on the angel much more too as well. And then singing through the Earth song again together. Okay. So what I would do is as homework or whatnot, you want to make sure that you can do, you can listen to the angel and sort of get this idea of the flow of it all together, because it is a beautifully structured piece, but it does take a little bit of time to kind of get used to it. Okay, great. So we'll see you next week. Feel free to unmute and say goodbye to everybody. It's like one of my favorite parts of the week. But bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, thank you, Ming. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good week, everybody.